Now, in the fullness of the eye of God, I descend. I would place the eye of my body of light centered in this retreat and heart. I am Cyclopea. I am Virginia. We are the manifestation of Elohim. On the fifth ray of God, we contain all light, for such is the definition of Elohim. We take in to our being all that is Church universal and triumphant, worlds without end. It is not comprehensible to your mind, yet you might find a point of co-measurement to experience what is the city foursquare, what is the meaning of Church universal and triumphant. It is a cosmic cube. It is the vessel of the body of God, even the mystical body of God, the entire spirit of the great white brotherhood, made up of all light bearers in all worlds. This is the meaning of church, the temple of God and of the godly and of the God manifestation. This church exists independent of this earth body, yet does take in every child of light, every son and daughter of God. Fear not then, for there is no separation in death or dying, or in compartments of karma that seem to separate loved one from loved one. Blessed ones, discover the point of being between the heart and the solar plexus chakras. Discover that point, which is another point of centering, beloved, and know that it is a point of contact with Elohim. Let then the legacy of this Church universal be unto all who reach out, whose hands reach up to God as Elohim. Our hands reach out to receive them, yet this mystical body of the Church must provide the intermediary between those reaching for God and God reaching for those. This is the meaning of the Christ. You have been called by Jesus many times and in many ways to become that Christ. Yet, beloved, though the footsteps are clear and the teaching plain, it is necessary for you to focus on that teaching so that you may understand this daily process of the soul weaving a deathless soul or body, weaving a garment that Christ may enter. There is no more important goal for the communicant of this church than to be fused to the Holy Christ self. Not many will you find who have achieved this distinction. When they achieve it, beloved, they must walk the earth in the expectancy of the full initiations received by Jesus Christ. This anticipation should in no way deter you from seeking that union, for without it, beloved, your life may be fraught with uncertainty. Without the fusing to the Holy Christ self, there is not the certainty of the union with God, the mighty I Am presence, when your course is through. We are Elohim called to quicken the inner sight, that you may know the presence of the Christed One, that you may understand that until you achieve this fusing to your Holy Christ self, it is necessary that you have with you the one who bears the mantle, the office and the authority of the Guru. For that, beloved, does give you the security of two hands, one to hold your own, one to hold the hand of your Holy Christ self, and therefore to establish the connection until you are able to attain this fusing with your Christ. You must seek to be Christ-like. It is well to keep with your Bible at your bedside a copy of the book, The Imitation of Christ, by Thomas à Kempis. It is well to assimilate that body and blood of Christ, even by reading a few words and taking in those words as you fall asleep, thereby determining that you shall go forth to be God-taught in the hours of rest, and your soul shall return in filled with the fervor to realize a practical Christhood of words and works, of kindness and compassion, of upliftment, of understanding, of taking no offense in the untransmuted self of a brother or a sister, but always having from the very center of being the fountain of light, true holy water that pours from the Christ in you, to drink, to place upon the body, to imbibe truly the elixir of shafts of light that come forth from the Sacred Heart of Jesus. Blessed ones, moment by moment, feel the pressing in upon you of the body of Elohim and of the blood itself, the light essence of Alpha and Omega, which we share with you. Listen to my words, beloved. Feel the weight of the geometrization of the God flame of Elohim. Feel then how every word is chosen that is spoken. For when we speak, the light, the message, the teaching does reach the boundaries of the matter cosmos. You must also consider that by the power you have increased in your beings, in exercising the science of the spoken word, that you also empower your words with that momentum that does move far and beyond your immediate aura to influence life. That is why when you reach this level on the path of having restored to you the gift of the spoken word, karma comes more swiftly, for those who misuse it must learn the lessons immediately and understand that this is God's sacred science. When you are deliberate in your speech and not careless, when you refrain from the idle word, but speak only when something well chosen must be spoken, you shall no longer make the karma of the idle words, for which you shall give account before the lords of karma. Knowing then the great assimilation that has taken place in ye all of light for many decades, you must realize that the forward progress of your souls entering in to the fullness of the Holy Christ presence does surely rest upon this square that does form the foundation of thy platform in matter. And now the squaring of the circle, and now the increase that is desired. The increase can come to anyone. We initiate individually this night, for all are on different rungs of the ladder and mastering different points of the law. We come to initiate all who call themselves keepers of the flame. And I tell you, beloved, this initiation will find you at the very point where you have the greatest strength and the greatest weakness, strength with which to receive the initiation, to assimilate it, and to become more of who you are in physical manifestation. The initiation will take you at that weakest point when, if you remember this dictation, you will summon your greatest strength. You will defeat that element of weakness that is your vulnerability, and you will move on. You will move on in the ascending cycles of being. Blessed ones, the universe awaits thy exploration, and such vastness of the mind of God that you would enter in your field of concentration. These doors are waiting to be opened unto you. Angels guard them. They carry the key. Man may not enter, woman may not enter, who do not guard the harmony of the cosmic honor flame. The testing is not to be moved by whatever assails, whatever disrupts, whatever abruptly changes the course you are on. Be as ready as a star athlete on the moment to receive this initiation, beloved, for we must move on at this quadrant of the year from the place where we were at summer solstice. We must have the step up. We must have those who can hold the light at a higher level, for the astral sea is rising, beloved, and we must see to it that the walls are higher, the chelas stand taller, the bastions are defended, and the angels of light tarry for the victory. Let the fusion with your Christ become the all of your desiring. Would you know Melchizedek, King of Salem and priest of the Most High God? Then I say, leave behind you the lesser preoccupations, fulfill all responsibilities to the law above and below, but let go of those things that keep you from entering through the doors that wait and wait. Let thy desiring be so great to enter in to this joy of thy Lord, that on the very point of the brow, that determination and that vision are one, and you know that all things you do and say and are toward that goal of fusion. You must attain it in this life, beloved. There are many reasons, but I simply state what is accurate for you, each one. You must attain that fusion in this life. Seek it with all your heart. Gauge your steps, your activities, always as opportunities to be self-emptied, that the Christ might enter in and you might be that sweet expression, that strong expression, that needful and wise expression, that love in action. When it is time for this fusion, which you have called the alchemical marriage, the Lord will come to you. Beloved one, this fusion is not undone. Therefore, all of cosmos must be certain that that alchemical marriage is forever. Church universal and triumphant must be built upon the rock of this manifestation, this initiation. Those then who have not attained to it, these must call and call again. for the overshadowing presence of that Christ. As the Christ does descend, placing the mantle upon you from time to time, you are building the inner ties and connections. When the Christ does withdraw, for you are in the tossing and tumbling of the karmic self, then you must seek and find again. And again, beloved, until there is no lesser state to return to, for you have overcome all. Count the hours, the 24. Know thyself. Know the geometry of thy being in those hours. Keep the vigil and discover what is the difficulty or the weakness when that vigil is not kept. You will find cycles in the day and hours in the day when you are always able to pass your tests. You will find other hours where with regularity you may fail your tests. These have to do with the cycles and the sine wave of energy flow in the 4 lower bodies. To know thyself and to anticipate these cycles will lead to greater victories and less sense of worthlessness for the failure. There is no reason why those who have this path and teaching cannot master time and space where they are, cannot make more rapid strides. It is but the perception or lack of it. It is but the sense of limitation displacing the limitless one and his limitless energy. But the overwhelming gift that secures this attainment, beloved, is the gift of unconditional love. That is not to say there are not conditions for the release of God's love to you, but it is to say you love unconditionally the soul that is in the state of overcoming, and you leave to God the chastening rod, the preparation of the soul, the leading of the soul. There is a love that must be held in heart for the God of which the individual is made, the very life that flows. There is a love to be extended. It is not a love of compromise or agreement with the lower self. It is a love that is steady as a giant tree in the earth that is unmoved with the comings and the goings of the wild animals in the forest. There is a love that shapes your words, your expression, your giving and receiving, and sustains your communion with God. Be aware then of sharpness, for sharpness sent forth is the sharpness that returns. During this speaking, we have built a giant grid of light It is a reward to this community for labors won and not lost, beloved, and this grid of light, as the presence of Elohim of the fifth ray, can hold far greater light than you have held before without it. It does encompass the spiritual body of the community as well as the physical body. It will hold a weight of light to which you must become accustomed. I trust you will not go out from this place and forget my words and my warning that to be comfortable in the grid of light and the greater light that it shall hold for this community, you must move into that grid and that greater light, else find yourself uncomfortable, untethered, and not having the rapprochement with your holy Christ self. You may determine, for seeming practical reasons, to displace yourself from Maitreya's mystery school and be elsewhere. Therefore, beloved ones, as the warning was given already in July, so it is given again. For Church Universal and Triumphant to remain in this octave, there must be greater light, greater support from hierarchy, a greater judgment in the earth and the dividing of the way, individual by individual, of light and darkness. You are up to the challenge. It is the desire, beloved. Do you have the desire to meet this gift of Elohim with joy?
Yes.
O beloved, take moments then in your day to breathe the sacred fire breath, to give the simple call, to venture in the outside and take in the wind and the sun and the elements, and blend yourself with the universal Holy Spirit of God. Reacquaint yourself with your reason for being and why you placed your foot upon the threshold of our retreat and did enter. This was one door open to you in this life, and you passed through it to much initiation and hard work and inner joy, to the place of immense self-knowledge in the outer, which before was only on the inner. We have been able to give you this, beloved, through the aura of the messengers. Both are always present on the altar, and by those auras there has been the stepping down through their Christ presence of many truths and intimations of reality and the inner sense of cosmos. You have awareness, beloved, that is second nature, and yet, a short while ago, that awareness of the auric egg around you was not there. Do not defile the temple of God which ye are with discord or dissonance. For angels move about and assist you mightily when you refrain from the stresses that come from the pulls and the pushes of the desire body. You are making progress, beloved. I congratulate not a few who have indeed passed what to them were severe tests in these intervening months. Well done, I say. Keep the faith, for the mark you have won will now be tested by the tempter from the dark side. Those who are the have-nots have nothing to lose and nothing to defend. You are the haves, therefore you must guard well your supply, your light, your levels of attainment. For the have-nots will always covet the abundance of the haves, seeking not to gain it by oneness with God, but by fraudulent means. For it is too much effort, and they are too tired to make the same effort you have made to be with Jesus in the holy mountain of God. The cosmos is a better place, especially in this sector of this solar system, for the great victory of your labor regarding the 12th planet. This, beloved, provided a stupendous arena of a vast light show for many evolutions beyond, who watched with wonder, some in joy and some in anger. Let them look back in anger, we look back and forward in joy, until you come into the consonance of your divine reality. In Alpha and Omega, we Elohim of God, who are God, tarry with you only for one reason, that some among you have merit and merit this presence. May you know, beloved, that the law shows no compromise when it comes to the interaction of Elohim with unascended life streams. Elohim may come when there is merit. Be grateful for the blessed in your midst, and you yourself become more blessed. Blessedness is a perpetual state of grace. Blessedness is that state which is approaching fusion with the Holy Christ self. Blessedness is the joy of the overcomers, those who see the star and do not shirk the responsibility of karma or the work that must be accomplished while the light is nigh. "100,000 legions of Elohim of the fifth ray are the builders of this grid of light. They shall work throughout this night and day, and another day unto the fulfilling of this grid that is as a cradle for light, a cradle for the man-child, a cradle for the Christ, being born in you as your soul is born in Christ. A very large circle is drawn. It is a circle far beyond the walls of the inner retreat. This circle is drawn now as the extension of the grid. It does encompass larger territory which may now be protected by legions of light. This the reward for the labor accomplished. We approach cycles again and again, wherein we may open pockets of darkness where labors must begin again. This period of this conference is a respite, a period of healing, of retreat. Neglect not the perpetual flame of the resurrection. It does burn in the heart, but tends to rise when you do not draw it down. This is a season when the spirit of the resurrection in the heart of God, in the great central sun, is closest to earth. If you desire healing, renewal, the reversing of the cycles of old age, disease, and death, take advantage of the moment of this retreat. As a mighty sea comes upon a rock and jumps into the sky, so is the moment of the resurrection flame appearing in this very place. Every cell and atom of your being can be infused with this flame. May you see it as a perpetual grace in the remaining hours of our days together. You can drink in this flame. You can assimilate it. Each of the 4 lower bodies may be a chalice and strengthened thereby. This is the resurrection of purpose, of direction, of will, of supply. This is the resurrection of the Christ in you, in the final quadrant of the year, when much of earth is cycling in the disintegration that moves towards the new birth of spring. This is the moment to seize those energies, recycling them by the resurrection flame, so that they do not add a ring of mortality to the tree of life. Let them be turned. Let the light go forth. Let each one know the resurrection of holy purpose unto the goal fitting, unto the fusion with Christ. As Jesus did walk in the resurrection flame, fused to his Christ, so, beloved, may you walk in his footsteps until the very fire of the resurrection flame does burn your feet and consume the dross, until you are cool once again. The legions of Elohim pause for this moment. Each raises a communion cup in salutation, in gratitude, and in acknowledgement for the achievements won. This, beloved, is awards night for chelas of the sacred fire. You will see on the inner who may come to the platform to receive that acknowledgement, while others remain in their seats, for they have not passed their tests in this quadrant of the year. Know then, beloved, that the reward is always given, even when the outer self may not receive the praise. All things accrue to the accounts of each life stream. May your awards be greater than the demerits that detract from the awards, and therefore compromise the full cup of victory's mead. Bask in this moment, beloved, for you are fully surrounded and sealed in this grid of light, a building. I withdraw now, Virginia, with me to the level of the I Am presence and the causal body, the Dharmakaya. When your desire to be in that presence is greater than your desire to be anywhere else, you may also withdraw to that level. But first things first, beloved. So become the Son of God, shining in His strength in your temple.